Good evening, everyone. My name is Christian Karasevich. I'm joined here by my co-host, Mr. Vincent Orlek.
Woohoo!
We are putting on this week's episode of Social Chatter, and that's hashtag Social Chatter. Basically, what we do on the show is we like to share 3 to 5 pieces of social media news from the past week. We're really big on tools, but not just like saying, hey, here's another tool to use. We also like to give you tools that you can use in your business to help you, basically to help you get more out of it, to help you, learn how to take social, not just from like a hobby, but actually do something with it in your business. So I'm going to go and get started with this week's show. But Vincent, I want to say, it's really great to see you. I've got a buddy, Mr. Carlos Gill, on here as well. He's a big Snapchat guy as well. So be sure, you go follow him. Who else do we have on the show today? Let's see. We've got
What's up, Los?
Heather. Good to see you, Heather. I think Heather's been on here before.
Jesse.
We got Jesse and who else is this? Bicycles. I'm not a bicyclist, but I have a bunch of friends actually that when I lived in North Carolina that love bikes as well. So really good to see everybody. Just a couple of quick notes for everybody. If you have any questions at all during the show, you can send us some tweets. You can do at Social Chefs. We've also got at Vincent Orlek. Also at my personal handle at CKROKS. As I mentioned, hashtag Social Chatter, or you can just put /Q in the chat window, and that will put the questions off to the side for us to be able to get to them. Also during the show, we do like to, kind of go back through these and see what's going on. If anybody has specific things they want to ask us about. So with that, let's kick things off. So let's see. Topic number 1 for today. What do we have? You want to start with Instagram, Vincent, or you want to start with Facebook? Or you want to start with some of the smaller things? What do you think?
Let's go. Start with Instagram.
Okay, so we got a lot of big news from Instagram, and we've talked about some of these things over the past few weeks. But topic number 1 is that Instagram has Instagram business profiles. And I'm going to give you guys some links here, but Instagram business profiles. The gist of this is you had on Facebook, for example, and I'm using Facebook because you now have, a presence to manage on Facebook, which includes a profile as well as pages for your business, for different brands and so forth. But Instagram is now moving into the same type of thing. They basically are giving you tools for you as a business to be able to actually use Instagram for business. We talked about some of these, like I said, the last few weeks, but some of them include, you've got a contact form that you can put on your accounts. Basically, you can create a profile for yourself around your brand. What else am I missing here, Vincent, or even Carlos? Actually, if Carlos has anything to add.
Well, they're officially launching this apparently right now. So
Mm-hmm.
we've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks, but
Yep.
It was more like, we're hearing that they're going to do this, and people were writing about things that leaked. But now this is like officially, Instagram has business.instagram.com. It's a resource for businesses to go to and see exactly what they can do.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let me refresh. This must be a blab issue. I'm not sure.
Oh no.
But keep talking. Keep talking on that, man. I'll be right there.
Okay. So Instagram is coming out officially with Instagram for Business, where if you are a business and you want to be seen as such.
I'm coming right back.
Okay. Uh-oh. Got to come back. So if you're a business on Instagram and you want to be seen as such and you want to label yourself that way and get all the benefits like Christian was just talking about, you can do so. And for Instagram, it marks a pretty big change, I think. I mean, they've always traditionally been focused towards more the user, the consumer. Slowly but surely, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, actually.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. So slowly but surely, Instagram has been coming along more to the brand way of thinking, the brand side, right? Where they started with the ads that you could run on Instagram. Then it was being able to toggle between accounts. That's that a lot of that had to do with managing brands. And now, another big change is this, and the rebranding of Instagram. I mean, that was also part of it too, where they're trying to separate themselves. Facebook is trying to separate Instagram from Facebook and make it look like it's a separate entity and treat it separately. So yeah, I mean, this is a pretty big move. I mean, it's a pretty big implementation of that branding and business philosophy for Instagram, I think. We'll see. I mean, there's already brands that are advertising, and I mean, I would say, wouldn't you agree, Christian, that a lot of the brands that advertise, it's kind of like the traditional you think of, like a style-based brand, a fashion-based brand, food-based brand. So now, I mean, I wonder if this does open the door more so. I mean, that's what they're trying to do, is encourage even more like smaller businesses, the mom and pop, which, I mean, I don't know the stats on it, but I don't know how many of the mom and pop stores, let's say, were advertising locally on Instagram. But this certainly will give them the resources and the encouragement to do so, I think.
Yeah, and one thing I did want to mention, I shared this with everybody. The link to business, it's basically business.instagram.com.
Mm-hmm. Just like Facebook has. Facebook has a similar resource site.
Well, so what I want to actually highlight for I got actually two things. One is, I think that I like your point there that this is going to get any type of business pretty much that said, hey, I actually honestly like this approach a little bit better than the old Facebook approach. Also, when everybody said, well, hey, you got to have a Facebook profile. I like the fact that this Instagram business site is actually very user friendly. It's it's fun, it's user friendly. They even give you some, if you just go to business.instagram.com and click on get started, they talk about content strategy tips, and they're not just like, hey, here's a bunch of jargon that we want you to just sit here and read through. They actually give you some tips. For example, one of those says, start with a clear goal and create a concept, celebrate your brand look and feel, focus on your craft. And then what's really great actually is if you go to the bottom, they give you all of the basic stuff you need to use for your account. For example, choosing an account name. It's not very like detailed, but hey, choose an account name that's easily tied to your business, but at least that gets you thinking. They talk about the size you need for your profile, commenting and liking, tagging. They talk about using their image, obviously hyperlapse and layout and boomerang, different subjects and so forth. So I like how they've really made this site very user friendly.
Well, and they also they put in there a very detailed and robust style guide for branding, right? For marketing for companies that want to use that. So that existed before. That did exist before, but it was a little bit harder to find, and definitely wasn't as robust as it is right now. There's a whole like PDF thing going on that they have for brands to utilize. So they're definitely on this tack now of going towards the businesses and trying to get the ad dollars from the business side of things.
So I want to ask you real quick about that PDF resource you're talking about. Is that actually, is there do you have a link to that?
Yeah, so it's on the page if you go to brand resources and then identity guide is what they're calling it.
Okay.
I don't know that it's, well, I guess it's a PDF, but here, we can put the link here.
Oh, there's, okay, it's at the top. Okay.
That's the link to it. It's a weird link.
And I'll actually I'm going to actually test out something here. So let me actually pull up the screen sharing feature because I actually want to share this with everybody. Yeah. Because I also learned something else actually last week, that when we do screen sharing, it actually shows up in, it will show up in our our Blab recordings. So as opposed to just, for instance, as opposed to just like dropping the links here as a drop in. Yeah. So that's something that kind of.
So the other things that they also have in there is how to advertise, what the ad formats are. Mm-hmm. Whether you can do video, carousel ads, things like that. If you want to do conversions to website, app installs, it really it's very similar to what Facebook offers. Mm-hmm. In the terms of trying to encourage people to do it. Case studies are in there, so it's really similar. It reminds me of when I was doing this with Facebook. We would have these like links to different resources that we would send businesses. Be like, if you want more information, or after you're done with the program, if you, with the advertising program they were with, like we did it for 30 days with them. We would help them. But after the 30 days was up, then they were kind of on their own. So we would give them these links to these types of things to help them kind of figure out what else they could do.
So I want to share this, by the way, with our viewers. So we've got, this is the Instagram business site. If you go to business.instagram.com, do what?
No, it works. It looks.
Yeah. So just go to business.instagram. It's kind of weird on my end. Actually, I'm seeing like the bottom part, but I'm seeing the top is all black. So I can't see you at all. So
that's okay. We're here.
So basically, if you guys can't see him, just let me know. But basically, okay, so here I am. I'm on the Instagram business site. Pretty straightforward. As Vincent mentioned, there's a lot of options here to kind of walk you through things. But one of those is if you happen to go to the, let's see. All right, sorry, getting started guide. My bad. Go to the getting started guide. And so here are some of your content strategy tips. And it's not really that detailed, but like I said, it's very useful. And here's some other stuff to help you get your profile up to date. If you are just getting started with that. Typically, I recommend if you're going to create an account and you need like a name, try to go off of what you've used on your other channels. I've done that with the Social Chefs brand that I created. I didn't do it so much with my personal account because my name was very, it's complicated. So, and I'll be honest, totally transparent. When I first started on Twitter, my name was my first initial and my last name. So it's @CKarasevich. And that was just really way too long to use because people had to, really understand how do I go about spelling that and so forth. I then settled on CKROKS only because I was working with somebody who used to own Green Rocks. And so we again, this is way back in the day. So we kind of stuck with it. Super easy to use, fairly easy to remember, but try to keep your name consistent across your channels. If that's something you're interested in doing. But so this is the business site. And then as Vincent mentioned, if you go under brand resources, there's you've got your standard stuff. You've got like logos that you can use for things, some screenshots, which are kind of nice. Not really sure. I guess you would use these if you're putting together a deck or something, maybe. I'm not sure, but
yeah, examples.
Maybe that's what they want you to use. It is nice. Look at how clean this is. The search and explore looks awesome.
But then they tie in all the other Boomerang and all the other branding that goes alongside it for the other apps.
So that's part of it. And then as Vincent mentioned, there is the identity guide and there's a submit request. If you click on the identity guide, that's going to pull up the PDF. I think this was a PDF actually. Yeah, it's a PDF on brand guidelines. This is actually, I don't know if I'd say this is like that useful for getting started. It's more about like the branding of Instagram and like how you can use their assets. For example, they really want you to, here's their API terms, which are really great. But they also have certain guidelines of how people can use their logos. So they really, for instance, this one obviously is a little different, but if you were to use these on your website, they typically don't want you actually changing the colors usually of the icons. So just be sure you read through that if you're going to do that.
Yeah, they give that out, and then if they see that you're doing it wrong, they may potentially say so. I've never had anyone say anything whatsoever, and we've used logos and things on pamphlets, on websites, on everything. So take it with a grain of salt. Try to follow the guidelines as much as possible, but they're usually not policing that really super heavily.
Yeah, and the one thing I would say to everybody that is watching here, if you are going to use anything from Instagram, like if you're going to use their logos and, try to follow the brand guidelines. But as Vincent mentioned, they don't usually they usually don't police them that much. But if they do happen to, if you do run into some issues, I will say this. I put together an article on this, on some different ways you can contact Instagram. So I'm going to go and put that in the chat for everybody. There's, some of them are your standard ones, like check their social media channels, but there are some forms and so forth that you can use in the off chance that does happen. But I would say, to err on the side of caution, just follow the, whatever the rules are that they've laid out. And if you have any, questions, you can go over to their brand permission request form. and ask for certain assets, whether it's to get something in a different, language and so forth. But so that's Instagram for business. And it's pretty cool because you also get, with this, you also get tools that we've talked about earlier. Let me find those actually. So let's see, we've talked about these. Let me see. I'm actually looking, there's basically a list of like the tools that you can get. Here they are, sorry. So you basically will get the business profile. And then off of that, you get insights. You also get the promote option. They are doing promoted posts for Instagram. So they'll work just like Facebook ads done within Power Editor at the moment. Then obviously, as you can go through here, there's a number of examples you can kind of look at. For example, this actually should look very familiar. This Instagram ad here. This is essentially a carousel ad that you've seen on Facebook, but now it's done on Instagram. You swipe left or right, and you've got your standard media buying opportunities and so forth. So that's Instagram for business. So it's really good, I think, to see all of this come to fruition. To start to see them really move in this direction. Remember, I'd say this: if you're gonna get started with Instagram for business, take it slow. You don't have to just jump in and let me just mess stuff up. I would say this: Instagram, my key takeaway, at least as a business, Instagram is a little bit, as Benson mentioned, it's different from Facebook. They want it to be different, but Instagram also is a little more complex in the fact that it's, they don't have the support community like they do, for instance, for Facebook. So Facebook has their whole, their whole help community. They've got tons of forms and resources available. With Instagram, if you do run into any issues, a lot of times they can be difficult to resolve. So I would say take it nice and slow, get your account created. Try not to actually, do anything that steps over any boundaries. Let's see. So I actually have a question here. Did you explain how they target the ad audience? I haven't talked too much about that. Vincent, have you looked into that actually?
How
Instagram's the question we have actually here in the chat.
Yeah, but how Instagram targets for advertising?
Yeah, what's the question exactly? So
okay, and I get an echo. For me, when I go in, I use Business Manager for the Facebook pages that I manage, and so everything's in the Business Manager, and then when I go to do ads, Instagram is included if and when I want to do an ad. So it will go along with the targeting essentially that I pick for the Facebook ads,
right?
Or whatever. It's just all together in there. So as far as if you're not using Business Manager, I really haven't done it that way. Have you?
You can, as far as running ads, I've done
using the what do you call it?
You did do Power Editor actually.
Yeah, Power Editor.
Yeah. So basically, what would happen? Actually, let me see if I can pull this up. If I can pull it up, I'll show you guys. But
yeah, Chris, it's Facebook owns Instagram, so they definitely have been working that all together and trying to use the power of Facebook to utilize that. Now, how integrated it really is the question, because the data that's on Instagram is not the same data that's on Facebook, right? It's not. You don't indicate interests and likes and things on Instagram. So however they're tying that together, to be honest, I'm not sure. I just I try it and see what happens, and then go from there.
So I actually have a really interesting thought on this. So how you've got Facebook, for instance, that they've got really great ad systems, right? And this is actually going to tie into one of our other topics, but they've got the ability to build custom audiences on your website by adding pixels to your site, right?
Of course.
So somebody, and if this is too complex for people, let us know. But basically, people can go to your website. You've got a pixel that you install, and then you can track people and then run ads and stuff against that particular information that you're collecting there. So this is going to be really fascinating if they get into doing the same thing with Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
There's a way to have I mean, essentially taking one vehicle and saying, okay, like this is Facebook. Okay, let's create a copy of it on Instagram. But you now have better control over your audience on these platforms as opposed to using any of the other social channels to do any sort of advertising. That's going to be really fascinating if they get to that point. So let's see. So this is actually how it will work. Okay, so sorry, I'm going to share my screen one more time here. We'll go do a quick screen share on this, and then we'll actually get into some other topics. Okay, so what you guys should probably see here is you should see my screen. You should basically see, let's see what you got here.
Well, it's small though. At least I'm on my laptop, so I don't know if it might be smaller than me, but it's tough to read.
Does that get bigger? I mean, does that? Let's see. Let me try to zoom. That better?
I can't really read it.
Okay. Basically, what I wanted to give you guys an idea on was, in order to run Instagram ads through Facebook, this is how I basically do it. I would go to my Facebook page. Go to the settings menu up in the top right, and on the left, hopefully, I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's an Instagram ads section that will appear. It's got the little Instagram icon next to it. You select that, and at that point, you actually would connect your account. So that's the first thing you're going to do. Okay. So then once you have that, then you can go into facebook.com/ let me see if it's ads / manage. Sorry, guys. Oh, by the way, these are really great questions. It's you know, the fun part is trying to do these during while this is going on. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so actually, here I'll share the screen with you guys. Okay, so if I happen to go over to my, there we go. Let's see. Sorry, my screen keeps resizing.
That's fine.
Okay, so let me swap screens real quick with you guys. Okay, so let me go back. Let me go back to this other screen now. Sorry, guys. Okay, so here's the other thing. So once you've actually set up your Instagram accounts, you can go over here, and for example, you should be able to see this. You can go and you can choose different options for running Facebook ads, and usually these will give you an indicator of whether they support Instagram ads and so forth. So this is so you basically select an objective, and there's usually certain options based on what you're looking to do. Does that make sense? Hopefully to everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's basically how you can get to your Instagram ads. And I think you can go into Power Editor and get them as well. Let me see if that was correct. And I almost should have just changed the title of the show to running ads on Instagram. Sorry, guys, I've got a little visitor here today, and he's making a lot of noise. Okay, so so that's any other questions about Instagram ads for the time being? Can you hear me, Vincent?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay. So I'm gonna let me go. We're gonna move to the next topic actually, and let me actually go. You know, if the barking doesn't, let me move him real quick, and then we'll get back into the next topic. Okay. So so topic number 2 for today is actually on Facebook looking to better ads to users. I'm gonna let you talk a little bit about this for a second here, Vincent. I'll be right back. Okay.
Yeah. So Facebook just announced that they're essentially improving what the ad pixel can do. And Christian touched on this a little bit just a couple minutes ago. But basically, what the ad pixel is when you can set up Facebook ads that will target people that visit your website, totally away from Facebook. But there's this piece of code that you can copy and paste that you get from Facebook. You copy and paste into your website, into the back end, into the HTML. When you copy and paste that, usually goes in the header, or you can even do individual ones on individual pages. You can then target those people that visit your website back on Facebook with an ad. So for example, and you've seen this, you may just not realize it. If you go on Amazon or any shopping site, and there's a pair of shoes that you're looking at on Amazon, these really cool sneakers, right? Tennis shoes. You didn't buy them. You didn't even put them in the shopping cart. You just clicked on them, you were looking at them. Well, Amazon has pixels that separate from, it's a different thing than what Facebook does specifically, but it's a very similar idea. It's called retargeting. They track you then back on Facebook for what you were looking at. So you'll go back on Facebook after being on Amazon looking at a specific pair of shoes. When you go on Facebook, you'll then see an ad for that pair of shoes specifically that you were looking at. So that's what that pixel does. It tracks you. It's based in the cookies and it tracks you back. What they're doing now is they're upgrading this to a point where it's allowing you to do, I'm hearing it called a custom combination, right? So
combination, huh?
Yeah, that I've seen that. So the other way that they can track you is through an email list. So if someone has an email list and they don't know you're on Facebook though, but you take your email list and you upload this email list and run ads to those people, it'll go out and find those people on Facebook and target your ads to them. So that's really been the two biggest ways. It's been under the custom audiences tag. So now what they're going to do is you're going to be able to mix and match the different variables from your site. So page views, if someone did add something to a cart on a visit, the amount that they purchased, what the amount of the purchase was, it's unlimited. Potentially it's unlimited. So for example, if you create a list of customers who spend over, say, $50, you'd be able to create a lookalike audience of similar Facebook users, and you could hyper target the lookalike audiences and with just a few different variables. So that's new. I mean, it's getting really into the detailed nuances of Facebook ads, but it's super powerful, or it can be. So if you're kind of advanced Facebook advertising, you're not just basic running ads, targeting, blah blah blah. If you're into the custom audience side or want to, this is something that's going to make a big difference for a lot of people, for a lot of companies, because the advanced targeting essentially now combining these elements is huge. It's huge because you can tell, like, okay, if this person spent over $1,000, I want to target them with higher end products potentially. I don't want to target them with the $5 screwdriver.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it's just more elements to add to that, and it's big. It's a big deal.
Absolutely. I mean, I got to say, from a business standpoint, let's talk about ads from a business standpoint. So if you're just getting started with, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, I would say this: you need to spend a little bit of time setting a budget on how much money you want to put into ads. You don't have to put a ton of money into ads. You get started with, a couple dollars a day, and I mean, and here's the thing: if you're like, well, hey, I don't have, a budget for a couple dollars a day, I would say you need to probably spend some time looking at what you spend money on, because, maybe you want to, maybe you cut out, for instance, like if you drink Starbucks every day, maybe you cut out Starbucks every day for a couple of months. There you have your ad budget. You cut back on other services, for instance, if you're using, maybe it's a tool you're using and you're like, hey, you know what? I'm not really getting the value out of $20 extra a month. That's $20 extra you can put towards ads. I would say as a business, you should have a at least have a budget for Facebook ads, or at least have a pot that you can tap into, because this, one, it's not just like, hey, Instagram business profiles. It's Instagram business profiles, and now, for instance, the ability to do any sort of ads on that to get your content seen. And it's not people, a lot of people say, well, hey, I have to pay to play. That's the case with anything.
Yeah.
For example, if you started your own business, you had to pay. I had to pay to play. Yes, I can go get some free tools and get a little bit of traction, but you're not going to go very far beyond that without, for instance, if it's a website, buying hosting, buying an improved theme, having somebody design your theme.
Yep.
All of those things that cost money in order to move you up the ladder. The same thing with Instagram, the same with Facebook. If you're starting out, you don't have an audience, you need to build one. It's not just like, let me just go through the rigmarole of like post every day. Like, that's not going to build your audience like you need it to be built. You might get a couple people here and there, but you're spending more energy trying to build that audience when there are tools like Facebook ads and Instagram ads that can help you get there faster. So I would say, with these two features, they're going to be very, very, very powerful. One is the, Instagram ads, but the other is, did we talk about the matching yet, Vincent? I don't think we did, right?
Well, it's all kind of part of it. That ad matching, the custom combinations, it's basically, it's all the same.
So basically,
it's a different name.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the key takeaway on something like this is, if you're currently, for instance, like, say you've got your website and you're not collecting email addresses, that's maybe the first place that I would consider starting to build that email list. So now you have a list of potential customers. If you've got people buying things through your website, make sure you're putting those people, getting them into your email list, not just getting them to buy something, give you an email address. Get them into a list, so then you can actually get to the point where you can then use this new functionality, this new ad pixel.
Yeah, and I would say that actually the first step, even go back one step further, is getting that pixel onto your site.
Well, absolutely, yeah.
Get that ad pixel on the site, and don't, for the people that aren't super familiar with it, it's not that hard. Don't be intimidated by it. If you don't feel like you know how to do it, Facebook gives you the instructions. If you Google, how do I install Facebook ad pixel on my website, the instructions will come up like really clear as day. If you don't manage your own website, then still get those instructions, get the code. Pixel is just another word for the piece of code. And all you do is copy and paste that into the back end of your website. It's not hard. Whoever manages your website, if they don't know what it means already, they will know, like when you tell them, you give them the instructions and the piece of code, they'll be like, oh, okay. They can do it in like, what, Christian? 30 seconds?
I would say you could do it in like 5 minutes.
5 minutes, yeah. 5 minutes is even pushing it, right? It's like for someone that, and especially for someone that knows that does know websites, that like instant. As soon as they have the time to do it, they can do it within minutes.
Yeah, here's the thing. I would say this. It's not complicated. I know you can go like Google and find how to install it, but literally Facebook walks you through what the step is. It's so easy. It's literally just go to Facebook, log into your ads account. They will give you the code that you need to install. At that point, all you have to do is just then go to your website and you've got you literally just paste the code and that's it. So,
and the one thing that we should point out with this new robust ad pixel is, if you have it already installed on your site, you will need to go in and adjust it. You need to redo it. So here, here's the link. It's ridiculous, but that's where to go to kind of get the information about all of it. And you're adding another small piece of code to your existing pixel. But they'll give you the pixel for your page if you go in and just follow the instructions.
And there's actually a button at the bottom. One that says, create a new pixel or modify an existing one. Yep. And they literally, just go there and they walk you through everything you need to. It's super easy. Yep. Again, if you have any questions, you're also welcome to reach out to either one of us and we can help you as well. But it's very easy.
Yep.
So that's the
and
new
worth it. Definitely worth it.
And the thing is, you want to actually, it's something you actually want to start doing now, because the sooner you do it, the sooner you can start to collect information about people coming to your site. If you wait and then you're like, well, hey, I want to do this, you do need to, you still have to build up, all that information. So spend some time working on that. And, like I said, if you have questions on it, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help you. Okay, so that's Pixel Advanced Matching. Does anybody have any questions on that?
I hope not, because that's all I know about it right now. I haven't used it yet or anything, so.
So let's give everybody a couple minutes here, and Let's give everybody a couple of seconds.
Oh yeah, Pixels, they absolutely have a future with mobile. Absolutely, that's where it's tied. It's going to it's tracking mobile visits too.
And and that's going to be huge because like as Vincent mentioned, if people go, for instance, to your website and they buy, like, let's say they add 1,000, like you could do something tied to people buying $1,000 product versus a product, $100 or less, and you can target people based on that. Here's the thing, you want to know where people are buying from, and you want to know what they're buying. So not having mobile in that equation would be, I think, a poor move, because you want to know from a mobile standpoint, are people, are those people, for instance, buying a $100 item, what type of device they're on, potentially, are they on mobile? How much time are they spending on mobile? Because that also then helps you as a business determine where you need to put your efforts in. Do I need to, for instance, if I notice most of my traffic is using mobile, do I then need to revamp my website, for instance? If I notice, like, let's say it's 75% of my traffic is going from mobile, if that's the case, that's where you want to consider using that information that you can get. It's the same thing like getting information about your customers. You get information about your customers, you get information about your business that you can then use to make informed decisions.
Yep. Hey, Nick, what's going on, buddy?
Okay, so let's keep rolling here. So let's see. So we talked about Instagram business profiles for those of you who just joined, Instagram business tools, Facebook's new Ad Pixel Advanced Matching, which is going to be really awesome. Just a couple of other little short updates for you. One of those is actually about Facebook's new. They're adding, I think it's like 1,500 emoji.
Oh yeah.
So it's topic like 3, I think. Let's see. And basically, here's what they're doing. They're adding about like 1,500 diverse emoji. So you get a lot of options to be able to choose from when you are going to respond through Facebook Messenger. Very simple. The way that this basically works is you just go to your mobile device, if you're on Messenger, and you would press and hold on the emoji, and that's typically going to give you additional emoji to pick from.
Honestly, the bigger, so I mean, they're doing like the more genders and colors and stuff. It seems like the bigger, not that it's really even a huge issue, but the bigger thing is also that it's going to be translated on iOS or Android, and you won't get any funny looking or non-emoji looking symbols. Like, if you have an Android, I have an iOS device, and I send you an emoji, sometimes it comes through looking like a box with a question mark in it or something. It doesn't read it. So this looks like they're changing it. They're upgrading it so that won't happen.
It's gonna be actually really good that they're doing that. And and I would say from a business perspective, one, as Vincent mentioned, with the changes to how you'll be able to, they're a lot more diverse, so you're not gonna feel like you're offending somebody, for instance, if you happen to use the wrong emoji. The other thing it also does is, from a business standpoint, you do have messenger codes, so people can message you. They can message you basically to your Facebook page using Messenger, and I think it was like M. Let's see, what was it? I think it was M. Messenger. I think.
For which part?
I'm trying to you can actually get to it through the mobile browser, or sorry, through your regular browser. Let me see.
While you're doing that, let me pop this.
It's actually, I think it's just messenger.com. Basically, businesses can scan, they can scan your messenger code, which is essentially the profile code. It's the profile icon. So like if you go to my Facebook page, it's facebook.com/social chefs. If you go there, you'll actually see that I have the messenger code, and you can launch the messenger app. It will scan the code and it will actually open the messenger app to let you message a business. So here's how those emoji work. Now, you don't just get, some diverse emoji, which are awesome. You also get the ability at this point to tie those into certain situations, for instance. And I mean, there's a ton, there's like 1,500. So it gives you as a way, as a business, you're not just like constantly trying to sell somebody. It gives you the opportunity to also work on that relationship with them, to be more personable, I'd say, versus let me just speak, business lingo with you. So I would say, as Vincent here shared the diverse emoji link here, but that's basically how you use it. If you don't have it yet, as with any iOS update or Android update, you basically will need to wait for Facebook to actually give you a messenger update to get it. So, and you can typically get that through your app store, but if you don't have it, try checking your updates first. And if you don't have it after that, you may just need to go to Facebook and log out and then log back in. It's a little bit of a, what's the word? Sometimes it's a very quick update. Sometimes it's not. So let's see. So that is the Facebook Messenger emoji. Let's see. Let's see, where's the next one? Okay. So let's see, actually, I think this is the last topic for today, which is Periscope. And this is actually Periscope's new commenting, right?
Well, it's the moderation, the jury, that type of thing.
So it's actually a combination. That's actually a really good thing you brought up. There's two parts to this update. So one is, the tip for today, or at least the news, is Periscope has updated their app. If you're a broadcaster, you can now see the number of comments that you get at the end of a broadcast.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like at the end of a blab, for instance, it shows you how many props you get. So that's good. I would say from a business standpoint, that's good from a growth perspective, because as you're doing shows and as you're doing things, it lets you at least see what you're doing, what you can do better, and so forth.
But you see the interaction. I mean, it gives you an idea of it. Really, it's almost like the views number in Snapchat, right? Or likes in Facebook, because it really doesn't tell you what the comments are. It doesn't give you like a running thing of it. You'd have to go back into the replay even and to see that. And then it's just a volume play. It's just, okay, this many comments. It could all be garbage. It could all be spam, whatever. So it's the start probably to something bigger, to maybe more in depth of being able to analyze what the conversations are during the broadcast.
Yeah, and I mean, again, you and I talk about this a lot, but I think basically what the big thing is that Facebook, is in a way pushing the envelope on what they want to do with live streaming. Mm-hmm. And I think that Periscope in a way now is in a way having to play catch up. So you might start to see some of these features, for instance, that Facebook has start to come out to Periscope as well. Stuff that might
well, Facebook Live post, it's you can see the number of comments. I mean, that's just because it's a Facebook post, and you can always see those.
Yeah.
And then Periscope, now Periscope has to do things. It's funny because I do think, doesn't it feel like Facebook Live has overtaken Periscope?
I mean, when you have that many users, yeah, I kind of would expect it to happen,
Right.
So, by the way, if you don't have Periscope, it's a free app. You can just search for Periscope, or you can actually just go to this link. It'll take you directly to Periscope that you can download. So, let's see. So that's Periscope. And actually, you know what? I forgot one other thing that we were going to talk about real quick. That was actually, let me find it. One thing that you also, speaking of Facebook Live video, and then we're going to get into some tools real quick. But speaking of Facebook Live video, one thing that is also changed is if you go to a Facebook profile, you go to your Facebook news feed, and you go to the trending section, and this actually isn't, it's not showing up for everybody, but basically, you know, if you go to the trending section on Facebook, and actually I don't have it right now, but I'll share my screen with you guys so I can kind of show you where it's at. Okay, so okay, so if I were to go share my screen on Facebook, so there's my Facebook news feed. Here we have off to the right, you have all these trending topics, and what's actually starting to show up in some people's trending sections are a live icon from Facebook.
Yeah, be a little red icon next to the story. Yeah, and like if you want to, and if you want to see the trending section on mobile, all you have to do is go into just click on search at the top, at least on iOS, and it pulls up
Facebook app, or which app is this?
Yeah, Facebook.
Is it the app or the Pages Manager app?
Oh no, on your Facebook profile. Just on your Facebook profile. You just go tap like you're going to go do a search in the search bar, and it'll pull up all the trending stuff for you in your feed. But you may not see something live. It may not tell you that something's going to be live right then.
So actually, Vincent, I think you know what I'm probably going to do here. If I can get this to work, I'll show you. Let's see. Huh.
I wish they would put the map.
Yeah, that would be really awesome.
Easy, in the app itself.
Yeah, the map.
Easier way to find it. See, this discover.
Let's see. So basically, I mean, just bottom line, as Vincent mentioned, all you have to do is go to search. And if you just tap in the box, I was actually trying to share my screen with you guys, but it's not working right now. I know I need to give you guys that post too, but basically, you see this trending section off to the right here. If you just go to the Facebook mobile app, you tap on the search box, it will show recent searches. And then if you scroll down, there's a trending section and it populates that, and it should match exactly what you see here. But the bottom line is for Facebook Live video, you will start to see a little live icon next to major events. So
maybe if you catch it right. Yeah. If something's live, and it's showing up in your trending feed, it should show it to you. So it's encouraging you to go watch a live video.
Mm-hmm. And the next step on that, you and I talked about this before, is what? Ads. So, it's not happening now, but they probably will do Facebook ads at some point for live video. So let's see. So let's see. We talked about topics for today. Let's get into just a couple of quick tools here.
Go for it.
Let's see. So, well, if anybody has any questions, just, let us know. We're happy to answer them. Okay, so tool number 1 for today. Like I said, we try to do 3 tools, and 3 to 5 tips. Okay, so tool number 1 is actually an upgrade. I'm a huge fan of this tool. This is my absolute favorite tool. It's actually called Screenflow version 6, actually, which just came out. And I use this actually to record pretty much all of my screen recordings that I do on my YouTube channels. It's an upgrade, it's a combination. It's like $100 a year. There's an upgrade price if you've already bought some of their previous versions of, I think it's $30-something. But basically what you're getting is you are getting an improved tool. It does some really neat things. One of those with Screenflow 6 is it basically is not just a recording tool, but it will record and you can also edit within the software. So for like $100, I will say this, it's a really powerful editor. You can record pretty much anything. You can record your whole screen. You can choose to just record a corner. It's got publishing directly to YouTube and Vimeo and Dropbox and Facebook. Let me think what else they have. they've got I use this, for instance, a lot to actually record my screens from my mobile device. So you can do that as well. So if you're looking to create a course, it's great for that. And then there's also some really new audio options. So for example, I can record my screen and have my microphone listening for me to speak as well. So it's really, really, really good tool. I highly recommend you check it out. There aren't any discounts on it, but I mean, it's a very, very, very solid product for doing any sort of screen recording. So any questions on that tool? And I can't really demo it, I guess, because it's basically just recording my screen and, it just shows you a couple of the tools. But if you guys have any questions on it, you are welcome to reach out to me and I'm happy to answer your questions. And by the way, I've been using this tool since like version 2 or 3. And I mean, it's really good. It also has a really good, the same company, by the way, and you and I have talked about this before, Vincent, but this same company also has, what's it called? I think it's called Wirecast, I think, right? Uh-huh. That will actually let you do streaming of Facebook Live video from your desktop. That is, though, by the way, that's a little bit of an expensive purchase because I think it's $500 for their software. So
and there's some setup involved.
Yeah, so we'll actually talk more about that at some point. We might even give you guys a demo, but for now, Screenflow 6, I can't recommend that enough. So let me see. And another thing I guess I would also say around these tools is, you want to make sure that, there are a lot of options that people will say, hey, I use, Camtasia and I use, QuickTime at some point and whatnot. By the way, we'll answer this other question in a second, but, there's a lot of people that say, hey, I use these other tools and they're good tools, but I would say, try to go with something that you can test out, test it out first, see how it works for your business, and then decide which one you want to kind of go with, because they are a bit of an investment, but it's a long-term investment. So, by the way, somebody is asking about OBS. Can you tell me about OBS? We're talking, by the way, about Wirecast, comparison to Wirecast. So, okay, so while we're waiting for them to give us some background on that, the other tool I want to share with you guys today is a tool called Ferrite Recording Studio. And this is actually a really, really good tool for podcasting, recording any sort of audio and so forth from your mobile device. It's actually so it's really neat because you can conduct your podcast directly from your mobile device. You can record voice memos. It has a really neat feature where you can do multi-track editing right on your mobile device. Basically, if you want to do any sort of adjustments, you can record and just cut basically with your finger. You just cut where you want to, remove something and so forth.
Oh, wow.
By a company called Wooji Juice. It's a free download. There are a couple of add-ons that they sell. They sell some FX automation options, as well as the ability to add some additional tracks and so forth. But it is a really good tool to use for mobile if you want to be able to record all this stuff. I mean, it has, how many reviews does it have? So doesn't have a ton of reviews. I think it's actually more of a hidden app, one that a lot of people don't know about it yet. But it's a good tool. I've been working to try to streamline my setup, and this is one of the tools I use all the time. So
that's crazy.
So that's Ferrite, and you probably might like this, Vincent. I mean, and we could probably test this out with some stuff, but it's pretty slick. I mean, you can you can do a lot of really good things with it.
Cool.
So, okay, so that's Ferrite's recording studio, and I'm not sure if I actually do what.
Definitely gonna have to check that one out.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm even pronouncing the name right, but I mean, it's free. Do what?
Sounds right to me.
Okay, so let's see. The last tool for today is, let's see. Actually, this is actually one you talked about. PressKitHero, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Let me get that in here for everybody.
It was just one of those that popped up this week on Product Hunt.
Yep.
that seemed interesting.
And for those of you who don't know about Product Hunt, you want to tell people about that, Vincent?
Yeah, well, yeah, Product Hunt is there's an app, but there's also the website. And actually, what I use is their Google Chrome extension. So Product Hunt is a company basically that people submit their new apps, their new platforms, their new programs, anything. I mean, it really can be anything that they want to get the word out. And then on Product Hunt, there's kind of a upvote capability, and the things that do really well get more and more upvotes. And there's a social component, but it's basically a good place to launch if you have a tech-based product. It doesn't even have to be an app. It could be. I've seen the Snapchat swag. So Snapchat, they make like a little ghost face or ghost stuffed figure that's like the mascot, or a beach towel. Like I've seen that on Product Hunt. It's just a place that's, if you have something related to tech, you can launch it there, and it's a good place to get feedback and get it noticed. So and the app is cool, and you can go on the app and look at all the new things and everything. And there's podcasts on there when new podcasts get launched. So lots of different things. It's definitely worth checking out if you're into seeing new things when they're still really new in most cases. With PressKit, that was one that I saw this week on Product Hunt that seemed like it might be a good replacement, at least in the beginning, for like a small business that wants to have a really good, robust section of their website that the media can go to. If, say, the media all of a sudden, for whatever reason, chooses to write something about your company or uses your company in some capacity in a story, they want media relations kits, elements, or branding elements potentially. And this allows you to go in, and there's a free portion. I think the first one is free or something, but it's a paid service, but it's really cheap. And if you're a business, it's good to have, because you never know when something like that might be needed, and it's a good place for you to gather everything in one spot related to your business, company news, everything.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's a really, like I say, Product Hunt is an awesome tool to check out. And as far as like PressKitHero, I mean, how much is it, Vincent? I think it was like $20 a month.
I forget. Yeah, it was really, really inexpensive. Because I started doing the first Creator Press Kit, and I signed in, and it was let me do it for free to start with. But I think that was just the first one.
Yeah.
Or there's like a freemium that's very, very limited, and then there's other options that are pay that give you much more.
Yeah, so so it's a free press kit hosted on whatever.presskithero.com. So for example, if it was Social Chefs, it could be socialchefs.presskithero.com.
It could still link on your website. Like you would link it through your website and have like a tab that would maybe redirect to. Yeah,
absolutely. And you can put it there. You can put it on your about page. It's actually kind of interesting. So let's talk about it from a cost standpoint. It's free to get that particular domain. So for example, if it's like socialchefs.presskit, socialchefs.com/ presskithero.com, that would be free. You get all the standard features. But if you want to do something like a custom domain, it is $20 a month. So I think this is a really good find, Vincent. I mean, for $20 a month,
it seems like really useful. I can think of like 10 companies off the top of my head that could use something like this, because it also allows you to really. This is something that most businesses don't consider whatsoever. And when you see it, you're like, oh yeah, I should have a section that's company news that's different from my blog. Because a lot of companies, they just say, oh well, we just won this award, that should go on our blog. Well, not really. Like if you're doing it the right way, there's a company news section on your website and there's a blog. It's separate. You may tie into some of the news from the blog, but it's a different animal. And most companies either don't have the time or don't realize that that's the case.
Yeah, and I mean the good thing about this tool is that it's free to get started. You could create, here's another thing. You could actually create your own, if you have your own like website, you can create your own redirect, for instance, using for instance, it could be socialchefs.com/PressKit. And that could actually redirect to, the PressKitHero site.
Yeah.
So you've got a great way to do that. I mean,
let's get all your social media stuff in there too. The links you can put for all your social media channels.
Yeah. I mean, it's awesome. It's got an about page, a contact page, address. Yeah. I mean, very, very, very simple stuff. Culture,
well, more so the people, the employees or the people that run the company, the staff. That's a whole section. And it's really easy to fill out. You just go through and fill out the information that it has that it requests in that section, and it's really straightforward.
I mean, here's the thing. I would say this: every business, doesn't matter if you're small business, medium-sized business, huge business, you should have a press kit, because this is actually going to be useful for you, for people that are looking for certain information. Maybe, for instance, you show up on Google or LinkedIn or so forth. People get to your about page. They then want to say, "Hey, do you have a press kit? Do you have any info for me?" And if you have that handy, I mean, it doesn't take very long. I'd actually say it could be a weekend project. Get that created, and you now have something that you can use and pass out to, to people that inquire. So, super easy, awesome find, Vincent. I gotta say, I like that.
Yeah. Thank you.
So let's see. Does anybody have any other questions for us on any of the topics we talked about today? I know we had a bunch. We talked about Instagram for business. We talked about Instagram for business, Facebook ad pixel, advanced matching. We talked about the Periscope commenting update. We talked about Screenflow, Ferrite recording software. We talked about PressKitHero. What else? We talked about a ton of stuff. So so that's it. So if not, we're going to wrap up today's show, but I will say there will be a replay posted later tonight up on YouTube. So it'll be youtube.com/socialchefs. Basically, everything will be there. We'll also work to get a blog post out. The blog post should be out tomorrow. Sometimes things don't always go as planned, but we'll try to get it out tomorrow to everybody. If you have any questions, don't forget, you can tweet at Vincent Ehrlich, at my name, at Social Chefs, and so forth. And if you want to subscribe, by the way, to next week's show, just a couple of last housekeeping things. Vincent, are you going to be on next week?
Yes.
So Vincent and I will be on next Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the weekly Social Chatter show.
The week after is the one I'll be away.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I'll be there either. So next week, 5 p.m., we hope to see you there, talking about what's new in social media for the week and some new tools and some new tools to help you as a business owner. So thanks a lot, guys. And here's the link to next week's show. Bye, guys.
Later.
Thanks, everyone, for all the props, too. We appreciate that.
Yes.